Before we go any further, please subscribe to this channel for more great videos.
Want to be a real estate investor, but you're thinking it's not a good time because of the current interest rate? Well, let me tell you this. As long as the rent is enough to cover the monthly mortgage payment, that's a good investment, right? The home is going to appreciate over time, and the tenant's rental payments are going to pay the mortgage. And if you're wondering where to begin, obviously the low-cost approach is going to be to start with your first home. So if you purchase a home as your primary residence using a low or no down payment program, most loan programs are going to allow you to rent that home out after you've lived in it for at least 12 months. And as long as you don't mind moving a lot, you can buy a home as an owner-occupant, live in it for at least a year, rent it out, buy the next home as an owner-occupant, live in it for a year, rent it out, rinse and repeat. But if you're like me and you don't like to move, there are other ways to purchase investment property. First of all, if you purchase a property as an investment property, lenders are going to require you to put at least 20% down. But this doesn't need to be a barrier to you buying an investment property. If you own a home, you may have enough equity to do a home equity line of credit, a HELOC, and you can use that as your down payment. And you can do this without refinancing your home. But you may not feel comfortable putting your primary home at risk, and that's understandable. So do you have a 401k? You would need to have $500,000 in your 401k in order to generate $20,000 a year in retirement income. Now, I don't personally know anyone my age who has $500,000 in their 401k. And also $20,000 a year really isn't much to live on. So let's say you only have a fraction of that amount in your 401k, say $130,000. You cash in that 401k, and after taxes, you receive about $100,000. You use that to purchase a couple of $250,000 investment properties with 20% down in good neighborhoods. Now, assuming the property taxes are 1.7% of the purchase price, and assuming the homeowner's insurance is about 0.5% of the purchase price, and assuming that interest rate on your loan is about 7.5%, then you're looking at a monthly payment of around $1,850. Now, let's say you're able to rent each of those properties for $22.50 per month. That's going to be a $400 profit on each property. But instead of spending that $800 in profit, you're going to use that profit to buy down that mortgage, to pay down that mortgage of the first property until it's paid off. This is going to end up taking about 11 years instead of 30. Now, if you anticipate a 2.5% rent increase every year, then by the time that first property is paid off, the rent's going to be about $28.80 a month, and you won't have a mortgage. If you then apply that $28.80 toward the mortgage on the second property, then in less than 4 years, the second property is also going to be paid off. And by that time, assuming a 2.5% rent increase every year, the rent on each property is going to be $3,200 or $6,400 total monthly rent, right? So in 15 years, you can either have a $500,000 401k yielding $20,000 a year, or you can turn a $130,000 401k into $76,000 a year with 2 paid off rental properties and a 2.5% raise every year. If you'd like to know more about using investment properties to fund your retirement, reach out to me.